Welcome to the Notorious Scoundrels, a Star Wars Legion podcast bringing you the latest news, general perspective, and competitive discussion.
Hello and welcome back to the Notorious Scoundrels. I'm Kyle. I'm here with Mike and Zach. Are you guys buried in snow like I am?
Buried in snow?
That's an exaggeration.
That's a pun,
but in DC,
too.
if it
You
snows,
just haven't realized it yet. It's okay. You didn't.
The best dad jokes.
You didn't
The
get
best
it. I think
dad
Zach,
jokes
Zach
are
is starting
the
to get it.
Mike,
are the accidental ones.
Mike got a week off and he's just getting flustered, right?
No, Barry.
Yeah, no.
Our last names are Barry, buried in snow.
All right.
Glad we got there.
Definitely meant to do that. Thanks for picking. I'm glad you picked up on that. Anyway.
Mike, we're the ones that make the dad jokes. I don't know what you're doing here. Yeah, I'd say that I'm looking out my window right now and I see nothing but white across the board. That means my morning's going to suck. And I'm going to have to wake up at like 6 and snow blow and get it going. And hopefully it's not as bad as they said it was. But yeah, it's all right. Whatever. We're in Hoth. It's fine.
Yeah, the frozen north kind of sucks. I don't know. I haven't lived up here for like 5-6 years, and hopefully will not for another couple. Like after like a week or two, I should be back to DC, which I hear is actually pretty white right now itself.
It is. Yeah, we got enough snow to build a snowman.
Oh,
So-
I'm not going to lie. This was like the first time, and maybe it's because I have 2 kids now. This was the first time that I sat down the other day when I heard the storm was coming, and I said to myself, why the R2-D2 beep noises do I live in a place where it can get frigid cold and snow all the time when I could live somewhere warm? Now, there are certain places that are warm that I would not go to due to humidity, mind you. But I mean, my wife's from North Carolina. Like what? What am I doing?
yeah.
What am I doing here?
What are you doing is
Like, what
really
am I
is
doing?
the real question. It's I mean, like, have you lived in Boston pretty much your whole life?
My whole life,
Okay,
yes. I mean,
yeah.
I do have reasons to live here. Like my family business, like it's not like I can just up and leave right now and just go to North Carolina. But let me tell you something. When the family business is gone, I might just be like, hey, we're selling the house. We're going somewhere where I don't have to shovel or snowblow for the rest of my life. And I really do think it's because of the kids. I love snow and cold most of my life. But seriously, I sat down on the couch the other day and I just sank in and I was like, what am I doing?
Yo, so
It was just
you got to be very sure when you move south that you're not going to move back north, because let me tell you, once you come back, it is like 3 times as bad. You're like, oh my god, I got to shovel. like I got to shovel every 2 days. This is terrible. I don't know. It's real bad.
I'm from Chicago and I miss the snow. Like, I grew up in Chicago.
You say that, but
Yeah,
like,
you're right. I say that, but shoveling still sucks.
yeah, I don't know. Like,
Here, winters are just so lame. It's just we occasionally get snow, but mostly it's like 35 degrees and rainy. We get a lot of freezing rain in DC, and it's like, why can't it just be either San Diego or snow? It's winter. It's supposed to be something, not freezing rain all the time.
Speaking of freezing, that's clicking in my head why I sank into my couch. My garage door is frozen shut. That's what caused all this. I have a brand new garage door. It's legitimately a brand new whole setup. Okay, we bought the house, the brand new garage door. My wife goes to go to work. She's a nurse. Okay, she's running a little bit behind. She goes, the garage door won't open. I'm like, what did you just say to me? It's the first time I've ever had a garage, mind you. And that's what caused me to sit there and sink into the couch and realize, what am I doing in my life? Because I have this brand new garage door that literally was not moving. So I had to boil water the next morning to go throw it on like the rubber part. But what's funny was, I guess, that my garage door realized it needed to open. Like it must have still been the chain must have still been there. So it unfroze in the morning and it was lifted by like 3 or 4 inches somehow. I don't know. I just remember that it was just... I know this is not Legion. I know this is off topic, but that frozen garage door really put things in perspective for me.
yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder why they chose Hoth, right? As opposed to, like, I don't know, someplace that looked like Scarif. Like,
Yeah,
I'm assuming,
it's a big galaxy. Like they can't find like a warmer remote planet to.
You know,
I'm
I don't
just
know.
assuming that they thought that maybe Vader didn't want to walk on Hoth. Like maybe his like cybergenetic like arthritis knees weren't going to make it through Hoth. I don't know.
I don't think
So
you get. I don't think you get arthritis and cybernetic implants. I mean, I'm
that
not a
was the point,
scientist.
Kyle.
I mean, like,
Okay.
yeah, if you don't have like actual joints in which to get the arthritis in, does it really count? I don't know.
Anyway, why don't we move on to Legion? But real quick, let's hit some housekeeping. What do you got for us, Mike?
Housekeeping.
Yeah, so Cubicle Raiders is still going strong. Pre-orders are still up for that, so please check that out on thefifthtrooper.com. We, I believe if it is not out yet, it will be out soon. A TTS mod for Cubicle Raiders will be coming along with that. So be on the lookout for that. And I also think it is, and Kyle, correct me here if I'm mistaken, I believe it is Notorious Scoundrels giveaway in Invader League this week. So
It is
so that's
accurate.
that's a thing that's going on. I think we've got a mystery swag is what we're calling it. So you won't know what you're gonna get until you get it. But we do. So
I'm not sure that's true. It's a mystery, also to me.
So
But-
okay. Sorry.
By the time the giveaway is concluded, at least we will know what swag we are
Can you
sending.
please post a
you.
picture of what it is so Kyle and I know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have access to various sweet Legion swag. We hadn't completely decided
Yeah,
on what
we're-
it was going to be yet, but
Yeah.
it will be sweet.
It will be awesome.
Yeah.
And it will be swag, and it will be Legion related. All of those things are accurate.
Yes.
So you're not going to send somebody a shovel and go off topic on us?
I mean, if it's a shovel, it'll be like a Legion shovel.
Right. It'll probably say, "Surprise, everyone! Jay Shalansky is now making snow shovels out of his backyard." So
No, or salt shovels.
salt shovels. There you go. There you go.
All right. Anyway, there's actually. Why don't we do news? Let's do news. If that's it for housekeeping.
Welcome to In the News.
So, there is in fact a AMG live stream, supposedly specifically about the Star Wars properties, on the 3rd of February at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, and I think that me and Jay are gonna try and do either a live cast, like response stream, or something directly after it. Because we got no idea what this is gonna be.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try and do a video of that, and it'll probably be live, I would imagine, on the Fifth Trooper YouTube.
I'm not gonna
So-
lie. I need it to be good. I need whatever they bring to the table. I need a spark, if so to speak.
I would
Personally,
temper your expectations on
no,
this
no,
one.
no.
I,
It doesn't need to be like a crazy announcement. I just need it to be good. You know what I mean? Like I want a direction. Like not a like I don't need to know exactly what's going on, but I just want to just like a calming presence of where they're possibly headed, if that makes any sense.
I mean, I don't know that we're going to get a lot of detail. I don't want to speculate too much because we don't really
Right.
do that here. But I don't know that we're going to get a lot of details. I don't expect them to like preview new units. Maybe they will. I
No,
don't know.
totally. I don't expect
But
that at all.
I expect it to be kind of like a, hey, we're AMG. Here's our team. We're serious about making Star Wars a good game. Peace out.
yeah,
you know,
and that's all I
like-
need. I just need the vibes
Okay.
from whatever they do.
As long as
to
that's your
feel good.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's all I need. Like I'm not saying like I need them to be like, oh, this is what we're doing with competitive play, and this is what's coming out for the year. I don't need that. I just need them to be like, hey, like I'm so and so. This is where we're going. Like this is the route we're trying to take. With the steps we're gonna take, and that's all I need. I just need like right now. I feel like I have no floor to stand on. If that makes any sense. Like, and that could be for a lot of reasons. Like there's no in real life games. There's no news to deal with. Right. There's nothing going on. We talked about it all night before we started this cast. Like I'm not saying we're running out of topics. We can always find topics, but like there's no like fresh like things to discuss. Right. And this is one, that can bring us some fresh, things to discuss, and two, we could probably get a feel for what AMG is looking to do. And that's just even from them saying, hey, we're AMG. This is what we want from Star Wars Legion. Next topic. Even if they say it in such a concise way, but I feel conviction, and I feel like they feel like, as long as I feel passion come out of them, because that's the one thing about Luke and Alex, right? In FFG, like, you could always feel the passion that was coming out of them. And I'm not saying AMG won't have that passion. I just need to see that, feel that, and hear that, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, I also think it's important to remember that I'm pretty sure this is not just a Star Wars Legion panel. This is Star Wars at AMG. So, like, they're gonna likely be talking about X-Wing and Armada. I'm
expecting quick hits on all three games.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be anything other than, hey, this is who we are.
Right.
Put your trust in us. We're gonna stay the course or whatever. I think that's probably the extent of, if we get anything more than that, I will be happy and surprised.
Yep.
But I would not be expecting anything more than that.
Yep. No. And that's not, I don't want anything crazy. I just want to have a ground to stand on. Like, I just want to feel grounded a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, I'd imagine we'll get at least that. All right, so there's that. Check out the various Fifth Trooper properties to see how we're going to be streaming whatever that reaction show is with you and Jay. Subscribe to our YouTube. I assume it'll probably be on there, or maybe Twitch. I don't know.
It will definitely be on YouTube. It's just
okay, so subscribe to the YouTube. Yeah. All right. So Mike and I have both now played some Invader games. Mike has played one. I've played two. This is our. We need like a Group 11 update drop? I feel like Group 11 update.
Yeah, we can find something. I'm sure.
Or just record, dynamic voice.
Update, we could.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There it is. All right, Mike, you played a game yesterday.
I think it was yesterday. All the days blur together these days.
Yeah.
Yesterday was Sunday, right? So yes. It was yesterday.
Yes.
So I did. I played a game against Zodiac. It was an interesting game for a lot of reasons. So, a couple things that I guess from my side of the fence that are notable. I've been waffling hard about what to even play this. This is going to be controversial, but I don't like this meta. Maybe more than I didn't like the last one.
I'm with you a little bit. So continue.
And it's mainly because I am having a hard time finding something that I want to play. Every time I put together a list, I'm like, yeah, this could be good, but there's just like something out there that like hard counters it. And I don't feel great about that. In any case, I spent like 2 weeks theory crafting without Kyle, which was difficult for me because normally I'm like, I put together a list, I immediately DM it to Kyle. I'm like, what do you think of this? And he's either like, looks good or looks like crap, start again, and we kind of bounce stuff like that. But I didn't get to do that. So it's funny because I just ended up, I was like, all right, Zodiac, let's play tomorrow, because he had DM'd me about it, and I was like, screw it, I'm just going to play the list I played last season, basically. And it's still good. It's still really good. It's, basically I played 2 phase 2s, 3 phase 1s with various loadouts. 2 of them had Z6s, 1 of them had 5s. There was a couple personnel like specialists and captains thrown in there.
Did you throw a specialist with 5s?
I did.
So I love that setup so much.
Yeah, I had four core units that could get free aim tokens, and I had four core units that could have face up orders on take that clankers. Because I took the commander. I took Rex, aggressive tactics, recon intel, along with the generic commander with vigilance, and then the compulsory 3 arc strike teams, right? So,
Yeah, because like quick math off my head, I think 5s in a phase 1 with a specialist is 2 points less than 5s in a phase 2 with offensive push, if my math is correct, and you gain an extra body.
yeah, I mean the big so
You lose reliable, of course.
yeah, I mean, and the other thing is that like the whole like phase 1 captain offensive push versus phase 2 offensive push, Z6 squads, they're the same price, and you get a little bit different things, but the extra body
Yeah.
is pretty good, and oftentimes you only need to like ignore suppression like once a game anyways, so I don't know.
Yeah. And in that list, you probably have surges that you can get around and dodges and stuff. So like,
Yeah, you're getting 5 surges on your 1-pip turns because you're handing out so many order tokens with aggressive tactics, right? So, so I showed up with basically Rexstar, and Zodiac, man, Kyle, I don't know what you did to Zodiac, but you know, I had seen him playing Anakin situational awareness spam, and I brought Rexstar because I was like, it was kind of my go-to because I feel really comfortable with it, and B, I wanted to really kind of test what we had been saying on the cast around situational awareness and stuff in like a live fire setting, you know, like not like just to like screw around or whatever, but like there's marbles on the table, you know. And he showed up with Maul, Cad Bane, double sab, generic like 6 naked B1s, and a Maul's droid buddy, and he put it on the table, and I was like, oh, this is not the game I thought it was gonna be.
I literally don't know if I've ever seen Zodiac play anything but clones. So when you told me he played droids, I was like, what did Kyle do to this guy?
Yeah, and it was even funnier because this was a list that I had been like theory crafting to maybe like, you know, wild card against Kyle with, and I was like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna see how this goes. This is we're gonna test the waters on a number of things. So we ended up playing Sabotage the Moisture Evaporators, Minefield, Major Offensive, and I think he was in a bit of a weird position from the get-go because we were playing on the fugly industrial complex, and there was not a ton of great places for him to put his VAPs on a Major O where he could like completely hide them.
I did that on purpose.
Yes,
by the way,
because for those that are uninformed of this, Kyle made these maps, some of them, but this one specifically, and so he was in a little bit of an awkward situation because he really didn't have any guns, like which when you're playing VAPs is kind of a big deal in kind of like warding the enemy off. So he ended up basically infiltrating Bane and Maul behind line of sight blockers in the middle of the table and scouting forward with his sabs in like basically the middle of the table. And to kind of like, he had to hold my guys off because I've got 4 units with basically range 5 take that clankers. One of those B1 units moves to to evaporator is just dead, right? So he had to kind of build like a bulwark of mines and stuff, and I kind of went into the game with I'm just gonna like put one of these sab units in a box so that it can't get out and just kill it. And I ended up TTCing Cad Bane. It kind of went a little south for him there. It was, you know, this was my real my moment that I was like, you know what, Rexstar's still really good. He put Cad Bane behind a line of sight blocker. I took my 5s unit and I moved them up with take that clankers, and 5s couldn't, or now 5s could like barely see him. So he was in heavy cover, and like I cohered all my guys like out around the corner, except for one. And then I was like, all right, I just dumped the whole squad into him. I rolled 1 hit. And then I used my 10 aim tokens, and it became a full pool of hits with no blanks. And I was just like, all right, The Rexstar is still very excellent. Cad Bane died very quickly thereafter. So I don't know. I've been concerned about the list just because of everything, all the theory crafting, but like at the end of the day,
Token sharing is still really good.
It still hits like a truck.
Yeah. Token sharing, it's not even aim sharing, is just really brutal. It is very punishing. You can't expose a unit that you can't live without to a unit that can share like 12 aim tokens. It's just not a thing you can do. So anyways, we ended up going 4-4. I won on victory points because I killed his Cad Bane, and then Maul had to walk into my standby castle of clones. They might not be able to share them, but it's still pretty brutal when
he had no way to take them off.
He had no way to strip them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's not a great place to be in.
Yeah. So that was my Invader experience so far.
Well, I also played Zodiac. I think the day before you did. And I might have thrown him off a little bit. He did say that, so he was playing Anakin clones, which I think is like his go-to list. I think that's his comfort zone list. That's also what he played for the first game. So I played a list that I thought was good against anything because I didn't want to in case he did some crazy last minute change against me, I still wanted something that was good. But basically I played what is essentially like a Cassian Gunline 2.0. I had Cassian, K2, Chewbacca, a Rebel officer with Vigilance, 3 of those DLT Captain situational awareness units, 1 DLT with a medic, and then 3 snipers. So I had 6 units with Pierce, including 4 of which have high velocity. So even if there was going to be some dodge sharing going on, hopefully it wouldn't matter that much. It ended up, so I was like, if I can get into some kind of attrition fight, I think I'll be in pretty good shape. Well, he outbid me, and he was blue, and then Evaporators was in the 3rd slot. So I'm like, all right, well, this is already off to a bad start. Because even if you have all of those tools, clone activations are still hard to pick off because they're so tough. So basically I was like, I have to kill an Arc Strike team somehow. Everything else has 5 or more wounds and red saves. Otherwise it's going to be a slog. So I ended up doing that I had there was a couple initial Cassian shots that just bounced where I got double crits, but they just bounced off Impervious. And then I was able to set up a shot where DLT got both arc models in sight and basically got 2 crits, and then he rolled 2 blanks. So it was one of those moments. Like sometimes you're rolling really hot on those saves and sometimes you're not. And that's kind of how it was for him. His pools were all like, I think even on the receiving end, you'd rather it be some mix, right? But his rolls were like either all paint or all blanks, at least on those first couple of turns.
I don't know what it is, and I know it's in my mind. Like, it's not an actual thing because the math is still pretty much the same when it becomes impervious and non-impervious weapons. But when you shoot ARC troopers and they don't throw that extra die for impervious, I don't know what it is, but it just feels a little bit better. I know it all still kind of maps out the same, or not really the same, but it really makes no difference.
It's still better to use Pierce against them than to not use Pierce against them.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But I don't know what it is. I've seen more bad rolls from ARCs when they get shot by like a DLT or like a T2B than when they throw like an extra die with impervious. Again, it's just my mind. I know what the actual math is, and I get that piercing is better than not piercing. But I've seen so many rolls where DLTs, like Rebel DLTs, do that.
And that's basically what happened. And then I was in a position where I essentially had to like extract that Rebel DLT that I moved forward to push that arc out of the middle of the map over the course of that turn and the next one, because if they died, then that's 79 points in exchange for 58, which means I'm still behind. So he did shoot at them with things, but between the dodges and cover and double guardian with Cassian and K2, I was basically able to extract them. And then from that point on, I was on defense. So, and he had to basically run Anakin into the teeth of a 6 Pierce unit rebel gun line. So it kind of went downhill from there. But yeah, it was definitely one of those games where if I had not been able to kind of scope that arc unit, it would have gone very differently, because I didn't. That was a game where I strongly considered bringing a force user, and I ended up not doing it. And assaulting evaporators as red without a force user is difficult, especially on certain deployments. And he was able to put both of his VAPs in relatively safe locations where, like, if I was charging them with rebel troopers, I would have had a really hard time. So especially since he had Anakin, so who is ironically a good defensive force user, but not a great offensive one. So yeah, I think if I was unable to take out those arcs, it would have been a very different game. But
were you able to use the flaw card?
It didn't end up mattering. It could have. His Anakin saves were really bad, so it reached a point where it was clear to him. And actually, maybe we should parlay into deciding when you need to go all in. But essentially, there was a point where he realized that he needed to just go all in with Anakin, because I wasn't going to let him pick off any units, and he needed to get to Evaporator, or he needed to kill like multiple units. And he did that, and I shot a lot of things at Anakin, and his saves were quite bad. I think he was like 3 for 9 or something on saves, with surges included in there. So clearly not great, but I also had I had more units to shoot at him. And by the time he died, he had like 5 suppression. So I would have played his flaw card next turn, and he would have been fishing Anakin from the stack while I continued shooting him with those same like 6 to 7 units. So it didn't come into play. It would have if his saves were a little better, but I don't think it would have changed the result.
Yeah.
I mean, one way or another.
PSA to anyone that plays Kyle, you are never going to be given a free opportunity to take out any unit of his for what it's worth.
That's not true. There was this one time I saw this 5-man commando squad just get blasted off the board on like turn 1, or
we even said that was a very uncharacteristic play.
I'm just saying that like, to use the word never.
All right, never. All right.
Is maybe not fair.
It happens. It definitely happens.
It's very rare for Kyle Dornbus to give you an opportunity to wipe something off the board. Now, hold on. To be fair, Kyle was not up in that game. When Kyle goes up in a game, it's especially the case that he will not give up a unit for you to shoot. So just to parlay into your all in when you're playing Kyle, you probably have to go all in more than you think. I know you guys play way more, so I get it. So. You're gonna find out tomorrow, which is today when you're listening, or the next day when we don't know when this cast is coming out. But the Civil War is coming, and I'm hyping it up. I just got a flush of energy right now. The Civil War, Kyle. Civil War.
Yeah.
Mike.
So Mike and I are playing this week. We're playing on. And it's we're not sure if this cast is going to be out before we play, so this might be a posthumous plug. But we're playing on Tuesday night at around 8-ish, 8:30ish, depending on when my kids go to bed. But David will be casting that over on Yavin Base, so check that out.
What are you guys playing?
I'm not sure that we're quite there yet. We'll see.
I legitimately have no idea.
I have some feelings about it.
What map is it? Naboo? Is that right?
Naboo.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting map. Did you make Naboo?
No,
I did not make that one.
I think Droids. No.
There's a lot
Tobias.
of light
Yeah.
blockers on it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that ends up going.
Double airspeeder, baby.
Yeah, I don't.
Airspeeders are really good on that map, actually.
I think they'd be really good on that map. It feels like they'd be kind of like there's specific lanes you have to fly them down on that map. I feel like.
Well, they can fly over everything, and they can hide behind all of because it's a bunch of height 2 line of sight blockers, basically.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Kyle's bringing double airspeeder, baby.
I feel like bringing double airspeeder against me would be sort of questionable, considering how much he knows I like playing clones.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I mean, I don't know. That's just a thought. Oh,
I'm not going to bring double airspeeder. Don't worry.
Yeah. So somebody had mentioned. I think you both had mentioned when to dive.
Oh yeah, it's just when to go when you need to. So we've talked. We did like an entire episode on kind of assessing. We use the terms beatdown and control, which comes from Magic, but sort of somewhat analogous to Legion. But essentially, like assessing when the status quo of the game is acceptable to you and when it's not, and then when it's not acceptable to you, what is it that you need to do to change it, and like how vigorously do you need to do whatever that thing is. So making that calculus is a really important skill in Legion, and I think Evaporators is kind of the perfect example for that because it's relatively simple. If both Evaporators are in quote unquote safe positions, which is fairly common, then the game starts out with blue player in that position where they're in the control position, and it's on red player to make something happen. And then essentially, as soon as the unit dies, whatever the point total score is for points killed, whoever's up on points killed is the one that's in the driver's seat. And it's on the other person to then make something happen.
Yeah, you always have to be counting. Always.
Yeah, always be counting the points. So on VAPs specifically, you kind of, if you're not in the driver's seat, you kind of always need to be like in all-in mode. There are ways to kind of scope or pick off activations with less risk depending on what kind of units you have. But generally speaking, if you're a red player to start, or if you're the player that loses a unit first, like you need to, as soon as that happens, you need to just fully commit everything, basically. For the most part, unless it's clear that you can, because sometimes, like in that situation that I described with Zodiac, I had to essentially expose a unit to take out one of his units. And if I had lost that unit, then, Zodiac would have immediately been back on the defensive. So he didn't want to also have a bunch of overexposed units. So you do have to weigh the risks a little bit. But, like as soon as, at least in that game, as soon as I successfully extracted that unit, he basically needed to just go all in. And I think it took him like an extra turn basically to do that. I know part of that was, I had Cassian and 3 snipers with firing lanes set up such that there wasn't like a great place for him to actually cross that open ground. But, you just generally, like, once you've kind of assessed that if the game were to end, now that you would lose, you really need to seriously think about how vigorously you need to commit to changing the status quo.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I think that there are times where in the situation that you're describing, I think that Zodiac, and I didn't see the game, okay, but if he realized it had turned too late that he should have gone all in, we'll say, my advice would be this, is that you don't necessarily have to always go all in like you're saying, but always be moving. I know that's what I think my advice would be, is to always be moving into a position that if you have to go all in, like you're suggesting, that you're in a position to do so. If you realize that it turned too late and you're lagging behind in those movements and decision making, it's because you didn't move, and let's say you took like an extra token or something like that, or you moved into a defensive position rather than forward to an offensive position, to then going to the all in. Like I'm just basing it off the situation you're describing. That's all. And I see that more oftentimes than not when I'm watching games, is that someone will be like a round behind on their decision making. I've been in that position where I realized that it turned too late, that I should have been moving the unit rather than holding them back defensively to be safe. Or I should, if I took an aim token rather than moving, right? All these, we say it all the time. And as much as we can give that advice, sometimes you forget how little actions you have throughout a game. And you get caught in a moment and you think to yourself, all right, I'm fine taking this aim and shooting rather than shooting and moving. And when you really should be shooting and moving or doing something else, just a pure example. Like every action matters in this game. So my advice would be to piggyback what you're saying, is to understand that if you have to go all in, you're in a position to do so. And if you're lagging behind, it's because you maybe should have been moving a little bit towards that. Because I think in VAPs, you don't necessarily have to go all in per se, but get yourself in a position that if you do, you're in that position. Because like what I'm saying that is because if you decide to go all in and it fails, you're now in the hole way more than you were before. So if you're in a position to kind of swing like a door, kind of like, and you can either go one way or the other. You're in a position to either be defensive or offensive because you moved forward, but safely, if that makes any sense. I know I'm kind of on a tangent, but like get yourself in a position that's safe defensively and offensively, knowing that you either have to push one direction or the other, but more up the board. Because a lot of times on VAPs, you're playing defensively and you're turtling up and you're not really moving to where you need to be. And that's where it can bite you in the ass.
Yeah, I actually, this is one of the reasons I like Legion. I view this skill a little bit as like the strongest thing I do generally. And I think, not to toot my own horn, but like, the way I think about this is I think about it like a football game. And, like when you say all in, I think about like, when are the times that like metaphorically in Legion that you would like go for it on fourth down. And like sometimes you do that in the second quarter because you're like in a crappy field goal position and like you're also you can't really punt, right? And like so to just extend this metaphor, like the way I feel about that is kind of like in the game that we played, Kyle, where we were both on playing Sabotage Moisture Evaporators, and I scoped your Sabine with my boss. Was like, I went for it on fourth down, but like I didn't really have much to lose right there, right? Like if I miss that shot, like you might chunk a unit, but I'm already down at that point, right? And the game state's not really going to change. And I think that when it comes to going all in, so to say, like oftentimes it's really about playing a safe and smart game up until a certain point. And then there comes a point where like, it's not about you're in a safe position. You're not on the 35-yard line. You're on your own like 20 and you have to be like, there's 2 minutes left in the game. You still have to go for it on fourth down. And I think that's the situation that when we say, hey, you need to go all in, that we're really talking about. Because like it's the point of no return, right? Like, and I think that most of the time when we talk about something like this, it's almost always in relation to a force user crossing open ground over multiple turns. Like I don't want to like stereotype too much because it definitely can happen in situations with other units, but that is like the quintessential all-in play that comes up a lot in this game. Is I'm super behind. There's only one unit in my entire list that could possibly make up the difference. It's Anakin or it's Kenobi or it's Luke or whatever, and you have to cross open ground because you are not in a safe position. And making that decision at the right time and point is very important. And if you do it wrong, it's kind of over. And sometimes you don't have a choice, but a lot of times you do. And how you do it is super important as well. So I don't know if we want to get into like the super specific details of that, but
Yeah, I just think it's an interesting topic. And honestly, it's one that I struggle with sometimes too, personally, just because I am such a defensive / conservative player. I often do sort of you think of terms in terms of football, I think in terms of baseball, as like the team that can't decide whether they want to go for the playoffs or not. So they make a couple moves to sort of improve their team, but they don't sell the farm. Like they kind of half-ass it. And then by the time they realize that wasn't enough to get them to the postseason, but also they, let some free agents go that they could have traded for prospects. It's kind of like a lose-lose situation. That definitely happens to me sometimes, where I'm just like, no, I can just kind of, play my usual careful trading game here for another turn or two. And then I realize, 2 turns late that I needed to go hard 2 turns ago. I
just think it's funny that we all think about this in like
a sports analogy.
Baseball, he thinks about it in football, and I see it as a hockey rink. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's an interesting, and it's something that takes a while. Like I said, I personally still struggle with that sometimes. So it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to get right, and like the biggest my advice, like just quick hit topical advice for this, is that if you're not sure, go for it. Like and don't feel bad about going for it. Like that's the thing that I see tons of people doing, is that like they're like, okay, I'm behind, but if I all in and like he dies, like obviously it was a mistake. And the answer to that question, like it's not a mistake even if he dies. It's like you had to do it, and it's like sometimes your out is only 20%, and when you're crossing an open field with a force user walking into 6 core units with guns, like sometimes they just die, like, and
I learned very early playing Legion that if you second guess yourself, the original decision is probably what you wanted to go with. Like I learned that very, very early. Like just pure example, real quick. I wanted to play Change of Plans against Palpatine. We were playing, at a prime at this point. I had a gut instinct that he might be holding on to And Now You Will Die, so maybe I should hold on to it for a turn. And we were, running against the clock, so I'm trying to hedge my bet. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to play this instead. And he played And Now You'll Die, and I didn't get to change the plans, and it changed the whole game, right? And I've never second-guessed myself in Legion ever since then. Whatever my first instinct is, like, I'm not saying, like, I have go-off gut instincts, but, like, whatever I think is, like, the smart play, like, first instinctual, I'll go with that, and I won't second-guess myself to kind of double down on what you're kind of getting at.
Yeah,
like,
second-guess yourself 3 days later. Don't second-guess yourself in the middle of the game.
Exactly.
So I did play also a second game against Sin, CYN, in our group. And it was one of those games where I put my list down and then she put her list down. I was like, oh shit, this is not going to go the way I expected. So I ran B2s and Staps, and I'm like, I got Staps. I'll put Bombing Run and Breakthrough and stuff in my deck, and the long deployments like Battle Lines. I'll be all right. If I face a gun line or something, these are the objectives I want. And then she throws down triple Tauntauns with Wookiees and R2. And I'm like, this list is better at all of my objectives that I took in my deck than I am. And we did, in fact, end up on Bombing Run. So it was one of those situations where, like, clearly we were both going to score 3 points. Right, because I could not stop the Tons before they got to my zone with the bombs, and vice versa with the Staps. But then she had R2. It was like, all right. So this is a situation like we're talking about where you essentially start the game behind and you got to make something happen. Luckily, I was able to basically nuke R2, did some damage to him with Staffs, and then followed up on the next turn with like a scoped... not air support. What's the separatist one called? I'm blanking. Orbital Strike. Orbital Strike. Yeah, and basically nuked R2, and then from there was able to kind of even up the points because I lost some Staps in the process of doing that. Also, was kind of able to even up the score with B2s, like one-shotting Rebel Trooper units and stuff. So the B2s definitely ultimately carried that game because once the Staffs were dead, I killed some Wookiees and stuff with the B2s, and it was just like, when you get to late game and you have like full health B2 HAs, and a lot of stuff is dead, there's really not much you can do about it. So after killing R2, that game kind of snowballed, but I could have very easily, that was another very close game, could have very easily lost that game 3-4 on victory points if R2 had gotten in there. So definitely an example where like you might think that your list is good at something, but there's probably another list that's better at that something. So yeah, that one was not streamed, unfortunately, but neither, unfortunately, was your game with Zodiac. That would have been pretty fun to watch.
It was not. It was a little bit impromptu. We were like not sure yesterday was going to work, and then he like DM'd me like a half an hour before we actually played and was like, hey, can you play now? And I was like, yeah. And it just, I mean, I guess he could have self-streamed it, but
yeah, I mean, you got to play when you got to play. You got to grind out those round robin games. So anyway, Sin and Zodiac, both great opponents. Both very close games that swung on like one moment. So, all right, that's our Group 11 update. Do we want to actually save our main topic for next week because we've been talking for almost an hour with the
Save our main.
How do you guys feeling?
Did we actually say that we're playing Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
That we said okay. I couldn't remember. Up to you guys. I'm good either way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay, I feel like our that could take up another hour. So why don't we, since we had a nice long discussion about our Invader games, but also diving and going all in.
Yeah, I thought that was good. That was good. I think.
Yeah. Why don't we wrap this bad boy up? So, any final thoughts? Zach, are you on Team Kyle or Team Mike?
Oof.
I am on.
Oof.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm on Team Mike, Kyle. I'm on Team Mike.
Come on.
For a lot of reasons.
He's like, I'm on Team Mike, and it's not close.
For a lot of reasons. One.
I'll be honest. I expected a diplomatic answer here, Zach, but you're actually picking a side.
No, hell with that. We're going spicy meatballs. One, we share the last same name.
Okay, that's fair.
Two, people actually think we are brothers, but we're not. We're not related at all. I've people have said, "Oh, you and Mike seem like you're brothers." Okay. Three, the amount of hatred that Mike and I sometimes share in the show are really like actual brotherly type of relationships, even though we're not related. And four, I want him to stick it so far up your SA ass. So yeah, bring situation winner so he can shove it right up. If you have to cut that out, Mike, go for it.
No, it's fine. I think we're leaving that one in.
But yeah, sorry, Dad, but I got Mike on this one.
All right, that's fair. I'll just have to kick your ass by proxy.
There you go. I guess that's how this is gonna go. A lot riding on tomorrow's game, I guess.
I was hoping I could co-cast with David. It's not gonna work, I don't think, but I'll be tuning in. I'll have my iPad, and
all right.
The family's gonna have to deal with me watching it.
There you go. See, and then you can be like, look, fam, I could just be casting this, and you could not be even exposed to this right now, and that'd be way better for everybody involved.
If it was only that easy, right?
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, I know it's not.
So David is streaming this on Yavin Base then.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think we said that earlier, but if we didn't, we're saying it now.
We definitely did, but yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Double
short-term
plug.
memory is clearly like not working today. I don't
All good,
know.
man. All good. It's all right because you got me backing you.
Yeah, I do. Apparently, a strong Zach in my corner.
Yeah, I expected Zach to be like, you're both my friends, and I'm sure that everybody will have fun.
Listen, I'm from Massachusetts.
He was like,
that's not how we roll.
F you, Kyle. All right. Well, we have the Notorious Scoundrels. I'm Kyle.
Mike.
I'm Zach.
And we'll see you next week.